want me to, let me know. Otherwise, I'm not going to.
Wait, say that one more time for me.
If you want me to, let me know.
Yeah, you can. If you want to, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you.
Yes, sir.
I was just gonna let you do your thing.
Yes, sir.
So you don't need another one stuck in your face. So.
Don't worry. Yeah. Batteries. Okay. That really noise, but it's going. I need to start the video off that way. Yeah, I'll do this. I can't sit down, so it'll be just will feel proper to sit down. Okay. I feel like this probably should be Faustin's Guetigo's family doing this speaking, or is somebody who's closer to him doing the speaking. But unfortunately, because of I guess the domino effect of situations, we stand at a place that I feel like that is very pertinent that somebody speaks and someone speaks and responds to the video that was released earlier today. I watched a lot of documentaries like 11 months ago, 10 months ago, 9 months ago when all of this stuff first happened. And I remember seeing, it'll be like they'll be outside of the courthouse, or they'll be outside of the police station, or it'll be a group of people, a large group of people, and somebody speaking, and and some type of PA system, and they're waiting for the video to get released, or some type of grand jury verdict to come out, or as what's going to go on in Minneapolis, waiting for a verdict to come out from a trial. It's this mass of people, and you can just, the emotion is palpable. And the emotion is palpable out here, but it is palpable for much different reasons. I think it's palpable because of the lack of people, because of the exact opposite of what made it palpable, and it made those emotions so strong in those documentaries that I've seen, and some of those movies that I may have watched. But I think that's important for Rockford. I think that's important for anybody who watches this video, anybody who may pass by here, to know that it's nobody here. I mean, there's people here, the same people who have, in some sense, been here from the beginning of all of these things, but it's nobody here. And I think that the same way that the sheriff Caruana stood up and said he wanted that they were putting these videos out in an effort of transparency, even though his officers never gave the family whose house they entered and murdered somebody in, they never gave them transparency in the process that was going on while that was happening. I think that it's important that we are also transparent and say that from May 30th until what is almost a year from May 30th, the actions that brought people out on May 30th have occurred in Rockford and in Winnebago County at a higher regularity than they were before. And the response has been lackluster. It has been the opposite. And everybody will have whatever their reasons are. I'm sure that if I was doing some type of analysis, I'm not saying that it is not things that I personally couldn't have done differently, or that organizationally we couldn't have done differently. And I hate to start off speaking about the murder of Faustin Guetigo in this manner, but I feel like that it is important to do so. When Tyrus Jones was attempted to be murdered by Dominic McNeese, if it was his way, Tyrus Jones would have been murdered. The response be it for whatever reasons that each person will have, be it for whatever reasons that groups of people or organizations or churches or whatever it is will have, the response was not what it should have been. Tyrus Jones sits in Winnebago County Jail now, charged with being involved in a homicide, involved with the murder. That was used as, for whoever it was, and whatever institution or organization or group or church or whoever it is, that was used as a reason to be inactive, as a reason to, or an excuse to sweep what happened under the rug or pretend like it wasn't the exact same issue that they were up in arms about during the spring and the summer. And maybe for some people it was the winter, because it was the weather is what brought them out when it didn't bring them out, and maybe it was because, you know, Tyrus Jones, maybe they were burnt out from being at City Market or being at you know, earlier protest, or, you know, maybe they didn't quite understand, you know, maybe they didn't know it happened. You know, it's a plethora of reasons that I'm sure, you know, every individual who may have heard it and, you know, and chose to do nothing, or chose, you know, whatever path that they chose, I'm sure it's a plethora of reasons that they have for those things. However, a precedent was being set. All last year, precedents were being set. A precedent was set that if you protest in Rockford, Illinois, you will be assaulted, you will be arrested, and nothing will be done about it. No matter if it's aldermen who are elected, they will do nothing about it. They will do nothing to go out of their way to ensure that their constituents have the available option to them to protest or to do demonstrations or to try to exert some type of leverage onto an institution that is oppressive, whether it be the mayor, whether it be churches, mega churches. You can go down the list. I don't have the name of every organization or institution that has that chose to not put their full strength behind trying to make sure that what happened to Tyrus Jones was not able to happen again, or was not allowed to happen again with such impunity and lack of accountability. But as it stands, that's not what happened. Maybe 50 people marched the times that Tyrus Jones, you know, was after he was shot, and so it was not very much you can do with 50 people marching. And so we stayed outside of City Hall. We occupied City Hall, and January 5th came along, and Denzel Dufant was assaulted and was beat. And if it was up to the officers who beat Denzel Dufant, they would have killed him. People, if you look at the picture of this man, this young man, he looks like he's dead in the picture. It looks like it's I would hate to see myself. It looks like it's his body's on a corner slab or something like that. People, sometimes somebody just drove by the other day and seen the picture and was like, oh my God, they beat that man to death. But as it stands, Denzel Dufant did not die. And since he did not die, there was no investigation into what happened to Denzel Dufant. There was no integrity task force triggering. Denzel Dufant just sat in jail for a month, healed up from his wounds, and by the time he came out, he didn't look like he looked when he was in jail. And no press conferences and no video, so besides seeing the picture of Denzel Dufant, nobody cared too much about what happened to Denzel Dufant. If we would have had press conferences or had some type of rallies or marches, it would have been less than what happened with Tyrus Jones. So that sets a precedent. So here we are, April 10th comes up, and the video of Faustin Guetigo just was released. Faustin Guetigo was murdered. Every person who watches that video, just like every person who has watched any video of black people being murdered or lynched or whatever has happened to black people since the beginning of time, whether it be being done by white people onto black people, whether it be being done with people who are black, involving black people, no matter what it is, the victim in these videos always takes some type of blame. It does not matter what it is. For example, again, and I hate to have to, because of the lack of what it seems to be, I guess, interest or care or empathy about this situation, about the Faustin Guetigo being murdered, I have to try to cross-reference it to other things to make sure I can bring people over. So I just seen that young man was shot in the car, and his daughter was murdered in Chicago. 7-year-old was murdered in Chicago. And I've seen people share this post, and this is not like an uncommon thing, share this post and blame the young man who got shot, you know, for his daughter being murdered. Blame black people in general and whole for this people being murdered. Talk about how is it going to be marches for these things. It does not matter how a black person in America dies. Them dying somehow is a reflection upon how they live their life for wrong reasons. They did something to end up dead. And so we end up here with Faustin Guetigo, where this man could have chosen to be patient. They could have chosen to treat this man like they cared about him, like his life was important, like his life mattered, and treat the woman who was his wife that was outside of there, and the child, and anybody else who was maybe in the home next door, treat them like their life mattered and what they were about to go through mattered. They could have chosen to do that. Those people's lives will never be the same, ever, ever. And so you can, again, the Winnebago County Sheriff Deputy can put out as many videos trying to criminalize and dehumanize and stigmatize Faustin Guetigo. It is not their job to decide to be judge, jury, and executioner. It is not their job to decide what type of justice Faustin Guetigo deserves to get in that moment. It is their job to bring him into jail. We can have a further conversation about jail and the institution of jail, but as it stands right now, it is their job to bring him to jail, not to bring him to justice. And just like if Faustin Guetigo would have been some upper class white man or some rich white lawyer or some state's attorney, like how rumors was, some Winnebago County sheriff, I'm sure it would have been more patience afforded to him. It would not have been shoot first and ask questions later. One person wouldn't go in with a taser while another person goes in with a gun. It's no point of one person going in with the taser and another person going in with the gun. It's like it's no point of shooting somebody once they're already on the ground, unless your intention is to murder them. That's it. And as it stands here in Rockford, Illinois, that is mostly what the intention of officers are when they shoot. Every time when they shoot, that is what their intentions are. It is streets, it is light poles on these streets surrounded by the fact that when they shoot, that is what they are trying to do. They are trying to kill the person. And I guess in Rockford, what it's going to take is going to take someone being shot, or someone being killed while being completely unarmed, by being completely defenseless. Because the last thing anybody wants to see in America is a black man fight instead of just lying down and dying. The last thing that anybody wants to see is a black man fight with the last seconds that's afforded to him instead of laying down and dying. And so it will be more empathy afforded to George Floyd, who, because of the situation he was in, had to lay there and die and did not have the chance to fight for his life, than will be given to Faustin Guetigo, who chose to fight instead of just stay there and die, or stand there and die. As this officer repeatedly went after this man over and over again, instead of trying to wait for backup, instead of trying to de-escalate the situation. It was no point in time in which he was grabbing him and reaching for him, in which he was trying to de-escalate the situation. That is the problem. That is not protecting and serving. It was a hunt. They hunted him down. They got the keys from that woman without explaining to her that in English, you can tell English is not even her first language. They didn't get somebody in there who could communicate to her what the situation was, because they did not care about communicating with her. They did not care about helping her in that situation or helping them children. They was out there on a hunt to try to catch him and bring him in. That's it. The same way when Jose Gonzalez was running the next day, a different law enforcement agency and a different officer had the same desire to just bring Jose in. That's it. not about keeping that neighborhood safer, not about keeping the street safer or community safer. They just trying to bring somebody in, dead or alive, like it's the Wild Wild West. Because people like Tom McNamara are a moral coward, and I will ensure with every breath that I have left in my body that you will never elevate to anything past being the mayor of Rockford. And every step that you take up, I will make sure all the black bodies you have allowed to fall in your vicinity come right next to you, just like they do with Rahm Emanuel. And the same thing for Chiarelli. Both of these fork-tongued white men who don't even have the integrity to say the names of the victims who were killed by their Gestapo police forces. Don't even have the integrity to say the people's names or answer back calls from news stations. Cowards. Moral cowards. The same way they allow these police officers to harass people on these streets while they're protesting, or harass unhoused folks on these streets that I've witnessed happen over here time and time again. Moral cowards to allow these police officers to run these streets like bullies in some type of locker room. I guess for Faustin Guetigo, for the sake of Faustin Guetigo, and for the hope of Faustin Guetigo, and for the memory and the story of Faustin Guetigo to be known by a further group of people than has happened to the other people on this poll, I guess what's gonna have to happen for him is they're gonna have to find that despicable cop in Minneapolis not guilty and let him walk so people can be reminded of what this country really is. That's what it's going to take for people to care about what happened to Jose Gonzalez, or care about what happened to Tyrus Jones, or even truly care about what happened to Dante Wright, or what happened to Adam Toledo, is they got to let this crooked, racist cop off. They got to let him off and have him a not guilty plea so people can be reminded that since this man has killed, since George Floyd trial has started for Derek Chauvin killing George Floyd, they have a statistic where it's been a couple of hundred of police murders. And so just like for Breonna Taylor to matter, George Floyd had to be lynched for 10 minutes on video camera in front of people whose lives will never be the same. Just like that had to happen for Breonna Taylor's life to matter. It's going to take Derek Chauvin being found not guilty, for Tyrus Jones being shot at while he was running away to matter. For Jose Gonzalez being shot at while he was running away to matter. For Faustin Guetigo being hunted down inside of his home and murdered to matter. Or for Jovan Fresco being murdered by the Metro Enforcement Agency to matter. Or for whoever the next black or brown boy in this city who makes some type of what I guess the society will deem a mistake to when he gets killed. In order for it to matter for him, it's gonna take this officer getting off too. That's what's make that noise. the?
It's working.
It's like I think it's how the way I turned the thing on. It's got like a. I think it's the headphones though. I don't know if it's actually doing audio. It's like a skip. It's like a skipping and like a heartbeat almost. Man, no, I think it's. Yeah, it must have been something I did with this. This or something. Let me see.
It don't sound like it's skipping online.
It don't sound like it. I think maybe it's just the headphones. I have to bear. It's just a me problem, then, I guess. I guess it don't even much matter. If it's just a. All right. So that's from an emotional response of what's happened. I don't know if it's a thing in the headphones. I don't know if it's coming through the microphone or not, but it's like a skip. It's coming through it seems like it's coming through the audio. Okay. All right. I'll bear with it then. All right. So fine. I guess it's good that happened to switch gears, because that's what we got to do. We got to switch gears. So everybody got to. What we have to do is to take tonight, watch this video. There we go. Okay, it's out there. All right. Again, excuse my emotional response. I'm gonna have to go through this, I guess, a few more times to become less visibly upset, I guess, or I don't know. I don't never want to be. I never want to allow myself to be normalized to watching people be murdered, especially watching people be murdered who I believe are being murdered because of the way that they look. Okay, and when I look that way, so aside from that emotional response, we have to have a tactical response. We have to have a logical response. We have to have a ideological response. We have to have we have to do something to make sure that what happened to Faustin Guetigo, we can use that to get closer to a place of this not happening to whoever the next Faustin Guetigo or Jose Gonzalez or Tyrus Jones is. Which I guess brings me to the part of this that I have yet to get the stomach for. As hard as it is to get a stomach for, it's very hard for me to meet people's families, very hard for me to meet people's loved ones. It's very hard for me to now to watch these videos come out and to have to read these stories or hear people's experiences. But I think the thing that has become maybe the most drastically hard for me is having to market Black death, having to market Black trauma. Which is what we have to now get in the job of doing. And I'm going to be transparent and not mince words. What we have to do now is we have to get this video that they just put out and release to the news stations that's on Facebook. We have to get clips of it and put it on Twitter. We have to go through and we have to now, and again, if somebody takes offense to the manner in which I'm stating these things, I don't like it neither. I don't want to be up here having to say these things neither. I would hate to have to say these things if it was my son, if it was me. But I don't think that as time has passed, I don't think that my position is to get up here and say things that people want to hear, say things that people like. So here, this is how it stands. We have to continuously use a hashtag and try to use use social media algorithms to get people to see the video of Faustin being murdered. We have to then use those same social media hashtags and use these same social media sites to try to get people who have bigger platforms to watch the video and see the video of Faustin being murdered. We have to make sure that we can elaborate and properly speak about what happened to Faustin and then what happened to Jose the next day and what's happened to Tyrus Jones. And we have to make sure that we can do it in a way in which people are empathetic about it, which means that, and we have to also do it in a way in which these situations cannot be manipulated or used. So it will be a segment of people who will not care about Faustin being murdered, who care about George Floyd being murdered because Faustin fought back at the end of his life. Okay, so we have to understand that is something that's going to happen, and we have to adjust our marketing plan basically based on that. because of the manner in which George Floyd was killed. It was a humongous segment of white America who cared about that because they had to watch for an elongated amount of time somebody do something that they deemed to be a despicable action, as opposed to what we just watched with Faustin, which happened quick and in moments, and they'll give these police officers the benefit of the doubt. So we have to do that. What we also have to do is we have to be long-suffering and be patient, which is something that seems impossible to do in this moment. But we have to every day, not just in a week or in 2 weeks or in 2 months, we have to for a year, if not years if necessary, care about what happened to Faustin, and with the exact same type of mindset and rigor in which you care about it now, and with the same type of dedication to do something about it that you have now, and the same willingness to do something about it in 10 months that you have willingness to do for it now. You have to do not become numb to that video. Do not become numb to this story. And the same thing for Jose Gonzalez. Don't forget that the next day after they did that to Faustin, a different law enforcement agency in the same city shot a 19-year-old while he was running away. These are not isolated things. And so we are going to have to fight for Faustin to matter. For whoever it is that watches this video, you are going to have to fight 10 times as much as people fought for George Floyd to matter. You're going to have to fight 10 times as much as people may have fought for other people in the past to matter. But that is where we are at. When people ask why I stay out here, why certain people sleep out here for however many points in time, I'm speaking for myself. That is why I stay out here, because I know I have to. If I have to care for about 70,000 other people, and if somebody takes offense to that, then I don't give a damn. You take offense to it the way you want to. I have to care for an exuberant amount of people because it's a lack of empathy on the part of so many people. And that's on me too, because for 28 years, I had that same lack of empathy, or I had that same willful ignorance or not caring. So I'm willing to make up for the time that I didn't care too. And I will stay out here I will stay out here doing this until we get to a point where more people care, and it don't gotta just be me out here. And it don't gotta just be us out here. Because eventually, this is what will happen. If we stay out here for about 2 years or 3 years, people's families flood these streets. To give it 3 years. Tyrus Jones' family still got interactions up here. Jovan family coming up here. Different people's families getting more ingratiated with coming up here. So give it 3 more years, and maybe they kill me somewhere out in the streets, and then staying out here will have the streets full, and then maybe that'll be the last person, and then maybe there's something to change. We came out here, and it seemed like it was no date that would be adequate to leave. No date. But the first one that came up was a year, and I jumped at it. I want to go the fuck home. And we can't even go a year without them killing somebody, or multiple. We can't even go a year without them trying to kill multiple people. Maybe they got to kill the star basketball player, the star football player, or an alderman, or a teacher. It ain't gonna be no summer festivities. None. You tell Tom and Chiarelli, everybody, they summer and they spring festivities are canceled. They canceled. It's not a threat or ultimatum, it's a promise. We will be at City Market. We will be at the Food Truck Tuesdays. Anything where these white people gather at and try to have a good time, I'm going to be there reminding them that they've been systematically and systemically killing my people in this city for decades. Ain't no having fun in this motherfucker no more. And I don't care about language. I don't care about language. I don't. The problem is, I just had this a problem with some white folks back there earlier. Y'all care too much about language and not enough about people's bodies. Y'all care too much about property and not about people's lives. So I will cuss anytime I damn feel like it, as long as y'all still fucking murdering people. And I don't care if the news stations pick to choose the angry parts of me and put on their post. I don't care. Y'all niggas be too worried about these white folks seeing y'all angry. I don't care. We angry. I'm angry. If I thought that it would be reinforcements on this fucking sidewalk, I would take this and I would sit in the middle of, in front of Winnebago County, in front of in the street, or take it in front of the city hall and stay there and wait for their ass to come to work. But unless they fucking shot me when they came to arrest me, y'all, that everything would just go on as business as usual. Unless they choked me and murdered me when they came to arrest me, it would be business as usual. I'm not here to be a leader. I'm not here to be some type of star, to be the mayor, to be a lawyer, in any type. I'm not here to do any of those things. The only thing I'm here to do is to voice the truth of how people feel. It's people who feel that I don't do enough. It's people who feel I'm not angry enough. It's people who feel I'm not militant enough. It's people who feel that I don't do enough. People are angry. That's why people travel to Chicago or Brooklyn Center or Minneapolis or Ferguson or Kenosha when these things happen, because they want to be in the other places where they can see people physically enacting their anger that they feel on a regular basis because of this society. This society in this city, this society in this state, in this nation. How can people truly even care about Faustin Guetigo being murdered at the caliber they need to when the next day Jose Gonzalez is shot? When the next day in Brooklyn Center, Dante Wright is murdered and the video comes out. When 2 and 3 days later, a video of a 13-year-old dropping a weapon comes out and he's murdered. When that comes out, how can people properly even care? And then when it's mass shootings day after day after day. I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody's family. I'm not speaking, at this point, I'm not even speaking on behalf of the May 30th Alliance. I'm speaking, again, on behalf of the honest emotion of what this feels like in the midst of all of the things that's going on. In the midst of watching them send triple and quadruple the amount of reinforcement to Minneapolis for the reading of the verdict for Derek Chauvin than they sent to the insurrection earlier this year. We were reading books earlier during this during this month. That was the thing that we was doing during the month. We was reading. That was one of like the concept of the I guess the action of the month was we were reading books every day. I have no idea how in any type of good conscience I can read a book tomorrow or in a week or in 2 weeks and then try to explain how that connects to Faustin Guetigo being murdered. That's not how I was raised. I was raised in action. And I watched in other cities as it was actions. And so any people who are out there who watch this video or any other video, and it don't got nothing to do with me. This is not about me. I'm not trying to be, this is not down here at City Hall. It's not somebody that's in charge or a leader or a president. It is different people who want to figure out what it is that they can contribute to ending this situation. Come down here. Discuss what it is that we can do. But we have to do something. And we can't wait a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks to try to wait for City Market or wait for any of the next thing to happen. We have to actively start organizing and mobilizing and doing it regularly. I promise you, they are going to kill somebody else before this year is over with. If we sit back and because they're going to rule both of these shootings justified, there's going to be no penalty or no consequences, and there's going to be another reminder to them that they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, to whoever they want, and in whatever way that they want. Do not wait to have to sit and feel like, what could you have done before? We have kept receipts for 11 months. We have kept receipts for 11 months of the things that have happened. There's a picture of Denzel Duvant who was beat almost to death on January 5th. It sits outside of City Hall. The Rockford Police Department did that. There's chalk that has been written regularly at the Winnebago County Administration Building because Faustin Guetigo was murdered by the Winnebago County Sheriff deputies on April 10th. There's a memorial down here for Eugene Washington, who died in the Winnebago County Jail. A memorial down here for Joseph McCormick, who died in the Winnebago County Jail. Those are receipts. We have pamphlets down here for people who need to read the stories about these things. Those are receipts. This is not people. We are not sitting here crying wolf. We have on May 30th, people were assaulted by Officer Owen McGinnis and falsely arrested. We wrote an expose speaking about that. We have receipts. This is not just reaching in the wind or just grasping or just picking something or just yelling things out and just, this is, these things, they're not doing these things in a secretive manner or doing these things in a manner which they feel as if they have to cover their tracks because something will happen. They're doing it out in the open regularly. The whole department are repeat offenders. You either a rookie or a repeat offender. So again, don't come down here because you feel like people have the same religion that you have, or come down here because you think people gonna go to the same heaven that you want to go to. Don't come down here because you feel like you got a couple of friends that's black and you just worried about something happening to those couple of friends. Or don't come down here because don't nobody come down here who feel as if these are isolated things, or who feels as if coming down here is something that they can do for some type of a fad or something that they can do momentarily or something. We need people who understand the gravity of this situation. We need people who understand that this time is bigger than any of us individually. We need people who understand that in moments like these, this is the type of moment where things either become worse or they become better. Either these officers are going to start upticking the amount of violence that people deal with in this city, or it's going to become less. There's no stagnant. And it's the same thing with racism, with these racist issues and these racist mindsets and these racist connotations and undertones and reactions. Things either get better or they get worse. They do not just stay even keel. Either you are contributing to things becoming less oppressive and less racist and more humane, or you are contributing to things becoming more racist and more oppressive and less humane. In 2021, with the internet at people's disposal, with the amount of information that is at people's disposal, with how easily you can find out the truth about things, no one can plead the fifth anymore when it comes to injustices. No one can plead the fifth anymore when it comes to oppression. No one can plead the fifth anymore when it comes to the things that continuously to happen. Everybody is affected. We're all affected. And yes, and we all take some type of blame as well. I can take blame for my inaction when Michael Sago was murdered. I can take blame for my inaction when Demetrius Bennett and Logan Bell and Kerry Blake and Jovan Fresco. I can sit back and say whatever it was I was doing in that moment was not as important as trying to end this thing from continuing to happen. Because it doesn't just happen to an isolated part of Rockford or an isolated part of Winnebago County or isolated part of Illinois or isolated part of the Midwest. It happens on this entire country. And the things that this country does in this land, it goes in other nations and does those same things. Goes to other continents and does those same things. They in space about to do the same thing in space. If they find some Martians, they're going to press them. And so we have to get to a place where we stop caring about what we individually experience more than we care about what we collectively experience. Because at any moment, your individual experience can be shifted to the collective experience, especially when you black. Especially when you black. You go 80 years being black, and in one day you can get reminded you still a nigga. I don't know what more in this moment, us, the May 30th Alliance, or me, Leslie Roth, or the construct of Leslie Roth can do besides talk and chalk. And I've had to sit with that for about the last 3-4 hours. In this exact moment tonight, that's it. It's either I sit here and I talk, or I pick up this chalk and I go to one of these administration buildings, or go to another one of these sites, or go somewhere. It's nothing else to do, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with doing something that may be small and minuscule rather than doing nothing. I can't do nothing no more. How many more times can you see these headlines and see these stories and see this happen and you get to a point where you just can't do nothing no more? We'll have flyers. I hate to, in a moment like this, have to, again, like I said, market Black Death. But what we have to do now is I have to try to go around and get some money donations so we can try to get some graphics made of Faustin, so we can put more content up of Faustin so more people can know about Faustin. So I gotta make more Instagram posts. We gotta make more Instagram posts and more Twitter posts and more Facebook posts and get his name more places and try to get people to see the video more. And so that costs money, so we gotta get money and ask people for money and donations. That's the type of sick shit that go into this. Imagine how much money went into a campaign to make people care about Breonna Taylor being murdered. Think about that. You ever thought about that? Or think about how much money some people made off of the memory of Breonna Taylor. Think about that. People still making money off of George Floyd being murdered, off George Floyd stickers and George Floyd shirts. More money than George Floyd ever made in his life. Emmett Till probably could have lived 100 years on this earth. 100 years on this earth, and this country would have never let him reach the heights that his name reached from him being murdered and his mother having to show what they did to him. Country hated Martin Luther King Jr. Hated him. He won a Nobel Peace Prize in another country, and this country hated him. The own city he was in was forced to celebrate him. Hated Malcolm X. It don't matter who the black person is that had ever tried to end oppression for black people, no matter in what manner that they did it, no matter if they was Republican or Democrat, or it seemed like they was pro-black or seemed like they anti. Man, white people hate Candace Owens. She might not know, she might be in La La Land, not understand. White people hate her for being black. It don't matter what you do in this country, in this nation, in these cities. If you black and you doing this, people that's gonna hate you for it. If you speaking any type of truth. If you speaking anything that is not exactly what they want to hear. Again, and people can be ignorant to it. You can be ignorant to it if you want to. Again, people like Candace Owens, people who have entitlement, people who maybe have made enough money where they can move around in some places and they feel as if they not black no more because their money can buy them some type of white veil. or some type of a disguise like Mystique and X-Men. But eventually, whether it's you or your child or your grandchild or somebody you care about, you will be reminded of what nation you in and where the roots of it trace back to. That's why it's a school named after slaveholders in these countries, in this country, all over this country. Schools named after people who were segregationists, people who was openly racist. And nobody bat an eye about it. Nobody bat an eye about it.
Hey, do I get the west side of Rockford from here?
You gotta go back that way.
You're heading east.
I'm going by Arbor.
Yeah, you're gonna wanna go back that way.
Can I turn right here?
So
Yeah,
it's
One way.
one way. City Market is May 21st. We need as many people at that first City Market as possible. As possible. We gotta market. We have to, again, we in a place where we have to market everything because we need as many people as possible, as often as possible, as regularly as possible. The officers who are involved with that manhunt, with the lynching of Faustin Guetigo need to all be fired. I do not know the policy. I don't know their policies, and I know for a fact they disregarded multiple policy procedures. They got the keys from the woman like it was some type of quick transaction. Woman obviously that this is not her first language. Obviously. At no point did they care about trying to get somebody down there that can communicate to her proper rights. She's saying to leave her, she get in between the officer. That's what they do. That's these psychological games. And for some people that work, I won't even lie, it was a portion of my life where that worked with me too. These psychological games were because of what the badge that they wearing and the gun on their holster and the gun on their hip and the power that they been endowed. When they ask you to do something, you say how. When they ask you to jump, you say how high. I had that problem too. I don't got it no more. Officer asks you to do, you have to do. And they don't be knowing these laws. They don't. They acting on emotion just as much as the other person in the situation is. Yeah. Again, what we have to do, which is I'm repeatedly going back to saying this, and I can't even go into detail about this because it still made my skin crawl. But we have to try to get as many people to watch this video of this man being murdered as possible, which is sick. Or at least get as many people to hear about the story of him being murdered. But because we live in a time in a space in which for some people they have to see, people literally have to see these things. Which is what black people, especially black mothers in America, have known for years, is that you gotta show them. You can't even just tell people they gotta see. I don't know how many people is spiritual or religious or whatever, but the more I think about it, the more I feel like the only reason we got camera phones and internet, all this exists, is just all the our black ancestors and African ancestors was like, they ain't gonna never believe this shit unless they can see it. So we gotta figure out a way to capture videos and spread it fast. All the people that jumped off the boats, all the people who died in the boats that they had piled up. Or the ancestors of indigenous people who they wiped out with disease and with violence. And again, and I hate to have to not be able to focus on the matter on the true matter at hand in this moment, which is Faustin Guetigo and the murder of Faustin Guetigo. But I have to say this for people who, again, I understand. It was a certain time I had a wrong mindset. When black people came to this country, the Africans, when they were stolen from that land and brought to this country, they were wiped they were a clean slate. I hate to be the type of person who have to measure things or trace things all the way back like this, but I guess it's what we got to do with people when these things happen, because they want to have these oppression Olympics, which is fucking sick. And again, I don't care about language. Black people came to this nation, our African ancestors came to this nation and was stripped of everything. Stripped of language, stripped of religion, they were stripped of everything. Same thing with violence. The violence that black people are in the midst of in this nation, that was perpetuated onto them. That was perpetuated. We was blank slates. They forced us to become blank slates. And I don't have the perfect understanding of history. I'm not sitting up here saying I'm some type of history major. I'm just telling you from the things that I have experienced, the things that I understand, my belief. We were blank slates. And multiple times anytime we grasped at an opportunity to try to get back to a clean slate again, violence was begat upon us. People act like they are appalled by the violence that they see on the news being spoke about inside of minority communities. You know how appalled they would be to see the type of violence that police officers do in them communities too? Do you know, I want to sit through all the hours of all them body camera videos that they got, see how many laws that they obstruct, how many times they don't go through proper procedure and proper policy, how many times, and see which people that they do it to, see which people that they patient with and which people that they quick with, which people that they shoot first and ask questions later to, and which people they ask questions first to. The people who work inside of this building, I watch them come in and out on a regular basis. We've interacted with these people in and out here on a regular basis. These people are privileged, pretentious, and they do not care about the city, about the communities in this city that they work for. They care about individuals, I'm sure. Individuals, I'm sure. And I'm sure some people who are so ignorant that they don't understand that everybody's lives are connected to each other, that we are all intertwined. I'm sure there's some people who don't understand that. But people being murdered on the other side of the town, even though it may not directly affect you, it does in some way. It will eventually indirectly affect you, whether it be through this violence being begat, and then you being stuck on the street when these police officers is bloodthirsty on some type of high-speed chase, and you end up getting hit that way, which unfortunately has happened to people, or whether it be one of these officers shooting a straight bullet one time. Or whether it be through eventually you marry somebody or you meet somebody who these things happen to, and now it's brought into your life. This idea of rap for these people, most of the people who they speak about they love Rockford, or they miss how Rockford used to be, or they wish Rockford was different, or the violence in Rockford. It's these people speak about these things. And they speak about these things as if it is out of anybody's control, as if these things are accidents, as if these things miraculously happened. We, in 2021, sit in a place where there's so much gun violence in this nation, because at the beginning of this nation, it was gun violence. And because they took the land through gun violence, and they made people go into submission through gun violence. You want to know why it's guns in minority neighborhoods and inner city communities? It became guns in there because of white domestic terrorists going into these communities and terrorizing them and trying to murder the people in there. Malcolm X has multiple speeches and interviews where he was catching flack because he told black people to start forming gun clubs, to start protecting themselves. You got to do this thing where you got to go through and all these things are done purposely. This deceit is so deeply rooted and so intertwined that you got to have you have to have like a whole intervention with every white person that you encounter, and even black people now too who have backward mindsets. You got to have like an intervention with them in which you lock them in a room and you get a bunch of history books and a bunch of documentaries and a bunch of different professors, and then you got to get a bunch of different people whose lives have dealt with these things, and you got to have an intervention to convince them that these things are true. And again, I don't stand here and critique or stand here and cast aspersions. I had to get shot with a pepper spray bullet for it to happen to me, so I'm not sitting here being holier than thou. Part of my frustration is knowing how deeply rooted it is. Part of my frustration is knowing how much it's going to take. I know how much it's going to take. I know what it took for people to, I know how many people, not me, now I'll speak for collectively, not me, I know how many people's lives it took of sacrifices and time and trauma for people to care about that video of Faustin Guetigo being murdered, that care about it. All 33 people that got arrested in City Market had to go through those traumas for that video to be released and for people to care, for the people who care about it to care about it. The 10 people that got arrested on May 30th, the people who got arrested at the Counter Back the Blue protest, the people who got arrested out here at City Hall. And unfortunately, what we have to do, now we have to find reinforcements, because it is completely unfair to ask any of those people to bear any more burdens. Just like people come up and down here all the time and they say the families of these people should be down here. No, the hell they shouldn't. They done bared the burden. They bore the burden. I'll stay down here for the rest of my life if it meant that my son didn't have to be on one of these poles for the rest of my life. The rest of my life. If it meant my friends or my loved ones wouldn't have to be on these poles, or my mother, or if I was to have a daughter, wouldn't have to be on these poles, I would stay down here for the rest of my life. It wouldn't be nothing. It would be an easy decision. Those families don't need to be the ones down here. The families that want to make sure that their loved ones don't end up on the pole, those who are supposed to be the ones down here. We need preventative action. So we will stay at City Hall. I wish we had enough people to go to the Winnebago County Administration Building and stay there too. I wish we had enough people to go to District 1 and stay there too. The District 2 and stay there too. In District 3 and stay there too. In the courthouse and stay there too. All spring, all summer. And because of how sick this city is, because of how corrupt this city is, I promise you they will kill somebody and they will give a reason for us to all be there. You will get reminded. Because every time I done got close to feeling like, is it a reason for this? Am I doing this pointlessly? Are we doing this pointlessly? They do something to somebody else and I'm reminded. They gave us a double play of the weekend before, last weekend. A double reminder. That'll get me through at least 200, 300 more days down here. I never want to get to the point of, if I ever get to the point of doing this and being involved in this, in which a video coming out or a story like what happened a couple weeks ago when I was emotional here comes out and I don't have an emotional reaction, or if it ever comes a time where this becomes light or it becomes some type of regular procedure or business as usual, that's when I don't want nothing. That's when I won't have nothing to do with it. That's when I know it's not my point to be here, my time to do this no more. That's when I know I'm burnt out. When I don't feel burnt out. When I do feel okay. Things not okay. Think about that. Think about if we was in on a plantation and people getting whipped and people being killed and being lynched and somebody telling you that we need to just take a little bit better care of ourselves. We need to get a little bit more rest. Hell, no. I'm happy when people come by here and they feel as if the situation is desperate and was worried about us freezing. That's how you should feel. That's what's happening. Faustin Guetigo was 27 years old. So that means for at least the last 3 or 4 years of his life, he may not have known it, but his life experience was visibly like this. It was desperate. He was going to be in a situation of desperation. Black people and brown people and people of color and poor people in this nation live in a constant state of desperation. A constant state of deprivation. Any wrong mistake and everything that you got is gone. And these things lead to people's emotional reactions and people's mental health and mental state. And police officers are workers of violence. Okay? They are not peace service or peace officers. They are workers of violence. They are instruments of death. Whether it be directly or indirectly. Again, part of me feels as if I can't even end the live or end talking because I know this will be the most direct action that is at my disposal tonight. Just sitting up here talking, that's the most direct action. I can go I can go write as much chalk as I want. The chalk is gonna disappear. Make a video of the chalk. It's supposed to snow, so the chalk gonna be gone. Okay. What, gonna make a Molotov cocktail, burn a building down? Nothing would have altered, nothing will be changed. So no, I have no answers, none, no answers at all. But I know I can no longer live my life not trying to find the answers. Not trying to figure out what the answer is. Not trying to make other people stop what they're doing and try to find the answers. I will treat each day for as long as possible, because unfortunately it is true that you cannot capture this feeling forever. But in Rockford and in Winnebago County, they have a very good track record of being able to remind you. So I'm sure a reminder will come up once it goes away. But for this moment, for right now, I will this same passion and this same emotion, I will carry this over into any revolutionary action possible. If that revolutionary action is walking on a crosswalk and we got people that's willing to walk on a crosswalk and hold signs, I'll walk on a crosswalk. If it's people that's gonna put together a march and have a march, I'll march. If it's people that's gonna write in chalk, I'll write in chalk. If it's people that's gonna have a die-in, I have a die-in. A flash mob, I have a flash. Whatever it is that people is willing to do, I'm willing to do that. But we have to do something. We cannot sit idly by and let this just continue to happen. And it has to be, we have to do more than we did the time before. We have to be actively doing more. And so when Tyrus Jones was attempted to be murdered, which is what Dominic McNeese did, he tried to murder him. He tried to kill him. We came to live outside of City Hall. We did not have a definitive date, but there was a tentative date of a year. One of the things that was a conversation amongst people, and a thing that was a thought I had to myself as well, was what do we do if they shoot somebody else before a year comes? What do we do? If we did this for Tyrus Jones being attempted to be murdered, what do we do when they murder somebody? Which is inevitable that they will. And so now that has come full circle, and it has manifested. It is no longer a question that is a metaphorical question or ideological or a philosophical question. It is a question of reality. If we were willing to stay out here for a year when they tried to kill somebody, what do we do when they do kill somebody and then the next day they shoot a teenager for running? Tomorrow will be 200 days that we've been here. 200 days. In 201 days in this city, it's been 3 shootings. 3 shootings. And the mayor can try to cast unincorporated Winnebago County out. I don't give a. They can do whatever type of weird, sick semantics that they want. It has been in Winnebago County, in Rockford, Illinois, in this area, in this region, it has been 3 officer-involved shootings and a murder. And then an attempted murder with Denzel Duvant. So if on May 30th, if last May 30th, if I want people who, because we'll make an event for this May 30th. We will make a graphic for this May 30th. Matter of fact, tonight, that'll be the first thing I do when I get off of here. That's gonna be the first thing that I do. I'm gonna make events for every Friday on City Market. We're gonna make events for every Friday on City Market. We're gonna make events for every Tuesday for the Food Truck Tuesdays. We're gonna make events for May 30th. We're gonna make events for the anniversary of the Back to Blue stuff. We're gonna make an event for July 4th. We're gonna make an event for Memorial Day. So they'll be there. They gonna all just be there. We gonna get megaphones. We gonna get chalk. We gonna get signs. And I promise you, as twisted as this it is, and as much as I hate to do it, I hate that this is what we have to do. I'm going to spend every waking second and minute and hour making sure that everybody who is breathing breath on this planet knows the name of Faustin, Guetigo, Jose Gonzalez, Tyrus Jones, Denzel Duvant, Jovan Fresco, and everybody else on these polls. Before this summer is over with, I want people to be coming in on buses from other cities to come walk down here and see these poles and see these memorials and see the chalk on the sidewalk and come to the city markets. Every waking second, every waking minute. I'm going to find a list of every basketball player. We're going to tag every basketball player, every football player, every Major League Soccer player, every Republican politician, Democrat politician, everybody who got any type of social media platform. We're going to find a way to tag them. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? This is going not to be a regular job. This is going to be a double time job. The same way they would work my ancestors on plantations. I am telling you that I'm going to make sure that this gets out. And the things that are happening in this city and continue to happen in this city get out. And when we get to City Market, there are going to be more people at this City Market than they even thought of being at the last City Market. I'm not interested in us having these conversations or doing these things in which we are trying to be there. There's no deceptive, nothing to be had. We are going to campaign. We gonna work for every person to be there. We gonna work for every eye to be there, for every view to be there. The same way they had all them fancy cameras, we gonna have cameras too, and all types of setups too. We will turn this city into Birmingham, Alabama. We will. It does not take 1,000 people. I promise you. I've seen it. I've read it. It does not take 1,000 people. I have watched how these people react to chalk. I've watched it. 3, 4, 5, 10 people. I watched how they reacted to 50 people marching. And so I want anybody that is watching this video who has made it this far, anybody who maybe watches this video and fast forwards to this point, anybody who is just coming in at this point, I want you to go to the May 30th Alliance page, which I guess you should already be at. If you're not, maybe somebody shared it. Go to the May 30th Alliance page. You can go to Leslie Roth page, Terry Patterson page, Ari Perez page, multiple people's pages. You go to those pages, you find the videos, you find the pictures, you find the posts, and you share them, and you hashtag Justice for Jose Gonzalez, hashtag Justice for Faustin Guetigo. By the time we get to a week and a month, when people in places go to put in hashtags, it need to fill out Justice for Faustin Guetigo. When somebody put Justice for Faustin Guetigo, need to pop up the way George Floyd name pop up, or the different people, or Dante Wright's name was popping up. The same way everybody became an artist overnight. It was drawing Adam Toledo, and an artist overnight it was drawing George Floyd, and artist overnight it was drawing other. We need people. We need an artist overnight drawing pictures of Jose Gonzalez, and of Tyrus Jones, and of Faustin Guetigo, and of Denzel Duvant, and people and their names on shirts and hats. And so we gonna keep track of the amount of days since they murdered Faustin Guetigo. We make a post. And we'll share that every day. We're gonna keep track of the amount of days since they shot Jose Gonzalez, and I almost 100% believe that it's just beyond the realm of my thought process that they did not try to murder Jose Gonzalez. Everybody else who runs, they try to murder him. So they tried to murder Jose Gonzalez. Okay. Thank God he survived. Thank God that they failed. Thankfully they failed. But they tried to. They tried to murder Denzel Duvant. They tried to murder Tyrus Jones. We need to keep track of all of the dates, keep track of the posts. The same way you go and you check whoever your favorite Instagram model page is to make sure to see if they posted some new pictures. Go to the May 30th Alliance page and you share. And you go check the Instagram, see if it's something new posted there. You share that. If other organizations or activists start doing the same thing, you go there and share that. But that's what we need. The same way you go to check to see if Drake put out a new song, or Drake put out something new, or the Migos put out something new. We need you to go to make sure you check in onto these social media sites to see what new content that you can share that can get more awareness raised for the Ku Klux Klan cop activity that's going on in Rockford and Winnebago County. And for my part, if that means that I gotta go on hour tangents, if it means that I gotta do multiple lives regularly and talk all the time and just wear people out that way, I'll do it that way. If it means getting arrested, I have no fear of being arrested. I have no fear of these police officers. That is the only weapon that they have. The only weapon is fear. And that what has kept us in a state of being defenseless and being powerless when these things happen, because they know they can enact fear on people to keep them from being mobilized or being organized when these things come down on people. As it stands, it's still cold outside. It's still cold. So I'm under no illusions that tomorrow it's going to be 1,000 people or 500 people out on a Tuesday night or a Tuesday evening in what might be snow. Under no illusions. But what that means is that as it gets warmer, it should be more people getting involved. As it gets warmer, it should be less excuses and less reasons. As it gets warmer and people come home from school, if somebody is watching this and you go to school out of Rockford and you coming home for a college break, you come down here. What is it that you have learned out in school or out at the university that you can translate into trying to get the liberation for us? For our people, for people, because whether it's people that's ignorant, you can be ignorant to being enslaved, or you can be conscious of it. Either way, you still shackled. Faustin Guetigo deserved better. Jose Gonzalez Jr. deserved better. We are more than the worst action that we commit. We are better than what the worst action that we commit is. And we need to form and create a society, in a city, in a community, which understands that. In a community, in a society that is not trying to duplicate the negative action or duplicate the trauma or the harm that one person may have done, that one community member may have done. We should not be a violent action should not be having a violent reaction from the society, from the community. The collective should be greater than the individual, not the opposite. Not the opposite. If somebody comes and robs me tonight, the reaction should not be me getting 5 and 7 other people and going and beating the hell out of the person and taking the money back. The reaction should be me and getting those 7 people and finding this person and seeing what it is that we can do to help this person so they don't need to have to rob people on the streets, so that they can have the dignity, which I'm sure that they would like to be afforded, of being able to make that money themselves, of being able to get whatever it is that they're trying to attain themselves. And so we need the society and the collective to be greater than the individual. They put those other videos out before the video of Faustin being murdered for the same reason that they put out the phone call with Sage and their parents, to criminalize, stigmatize, and dehumanize somebody after they've been victimized, which is sick. It is sick. It's sick. It's sick. And it will work on some people, which is unfortunate. But that is why they put those videos out of what happened beforehand. They did not do that to help the young lady in the videos, or to help the family of that young lady in any way, or to help the community. That is nothing. That is not why. They did that to dehumanize, to stigmatize, and to criminalize him, so that way, when they victimized him, people would be apathetic towards it. To make him look like he was not human, or he was something, he was subhuman, or he had to be dealt with in that type of a way because of something that was inherently violent about him. They chose violence instead of care. She called for help. She called for help. The last thing that I want to say, because I need to end this, I want to take time to touch on this, and I want everybody in this city to listen to this closely. They have a video of them trying to kill Tyrus Jones. They have a video of it. They have a video of Tyrus Jones running and Dominic McNeese trying to kill him. They have put out a dash camera video of Jose Gonzalez Jr., who they have up on charges. So they are willing to put out, and this was Rockford, so they are willing to put out the video while charges are pending. That is a hypocritical lie coming out of that fork-tongued office of the state's attorney and out of this City Hall. Tom McNamara and Jay Hanley are crooked. Crooked. Marilyn Height Ross too. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. We want that video released. Tom, you are a moral coward. O'Shea, you are a moral coward. Release the dash camera video of what y'all did to Tyrus Jones on October 2nd. We will not even be close to leaving City Hall until that video is released. Not even close. Not even close. And that ban, listen to me, that ban will be up. That ban is not gonna last a lifetime. I will outlast that ban, you coward. I'm not a politician. I'm not running for office. I have no hopes to run for office. I have no hopes to win people's hearts over. I have no hopes to be people's heroes. I have no hopes to be people's role models. The only thing I hope for is to be the pepper spray bullet to the face for somebody else that was for me. I hope to be the thing that awakens somebody else the way that I was awakened, and that will be enough. Enough. And I know that we doing that every single day, so that is enough for me. So I don't care who likes my delivery. I don't care who likes my attitude. I don't care who likes my tone. I don't care who likes my language. I don't care about none of that. That should be about 100 on your, that should be about 1,000 on your list of things to care about. And sometimes I gotta remind my own self that. Gotta remind my own self that. I wish somebody would murder my son in his own home and then be worried about the hell language I'm using. It is fuck the police and it is fuck 12. Period. If in this moment of catastrophic death and violence being sanctioned by the state by state coming down on people, if in this moment you are worried about somebody saying fuck the police or fuck 12 or all cops are bastards, you are part of the problem, not part of the solution. There's no reforming policing. There's none. It is none. I have watched these officers firsthand. There's none. The video of Tyrus Jones needs to be released. If any video, dash camera footage that has connection to Denzel Duvant needs to be released. The May 30th video footage from outside of District 1, that big camera out there that get the whole yard, that video needs to be released. If somebody, all of these videos need to be released. The Winnebago County Sheriff deputies, those body cameras, they had them on May 30th. The body camera video of them beating Jeremy Holloman, of them beating Isaiah Carter, tearing up Brittany car, Rosenbaum car, all of that need to be released. Release all of those videos. They trying to play games about these videos. We ain't having it. All of them. Release all of them. Indefinite. Anytime anybody ever asks about the occupation at City Hall, it is indefinite. These white men in these offices need to start saying the names of these victims. Anybody that's speaking to them, anybody that's talking to them in interviews or in conversations, make them say these people's names. I don't know what it is with these sick white men not saying the name of murdered black and brown people or shot down black and brown people, but it needs to stop. It's disgusting. I don't get it. I had to ask a lawyer if it was a legal thing or something. The memorials that say their name square are staying forever. Forever. Eternity. If you believe in Jesus and God, Jesus will come back and walk this earth before these memorials are not on these poles, or these poles won't be here. I promise you. They're staying. This memorial for Faustin on this pole here is staying forever. Forever. It may start with a small group of people, but I promise you, this moment that we are in is greater than any individual person. collectively, these things will come to fruition. These things will manifest. Anybody who has kept up with this from May 30th till now understands that. They should understand that. When they watch that video, in the manner in which they put the video out, in the manner in which all of these things have led up to today, we're getting ready to come up on a year anniversary of May 30th. Anybody who has been awakened in this moment, who has paid attention, they should know. The police chiefs all over the nation, all over the country have said it. They said it was the only thing close to what happened last year was close to like things in the 60s. I promise you, this is not just a Leslie Roth thing, or a construct of Leslie Roth thing, or a May 30th Alliance thing, or a Rockford thing. Everybody, everywhere in this nation is fed up. It's manifested in different ways. It will take time for different people, but I promise you, there are multiple catalysts like me and like others that have been involved with organizing who will lend towards us getting to a place where these things change. And the other thing that will lend to it more than I could, or more than any activist could, or more than any organization could, is going to be the state sanctioned violence that continues to come down. It's going to be the racist vigilante violence that continues to come down. White supremacists will make more revolutionaries than me or any book ever could. Police terrorism will make more revolutionaries than me or any march ever could. Victims of mass incarceration will make more revolutionaries than me or any speech ever could. And they will continue to do those things. They will continue to, people will continue to die for racially unjust reasons. People will continue to die because of police terrorism and mass incarceration and repression. The repression that people face when they try to fight these things will create more revolutionaries than me individually ever could. Wherever you are at watching this, whatever moment it is, whether it's a year from now, whether it's a week from now, whether it's a month from now, an hour from now, I want you to start keeping receipts. I want you to start checking back on this page. I want you to start keeping track of the things that's going on in this city. I promise you that this city will be the microcosm of the change happening in this nation. I promise you. That video of Tyrus Jones needs to be released. Rest in peace to Faustin Guetigo. My condolences to that man's family. My condolences to his loved ones, to his child, his children. I don't know. I can't imagine the trauma that family is going through and that family is dealing with right now. I hope that in whatever way that they can be mended and that they can be healed, that they are. I hope that they are. I hope for them that they have some type of peace. I hope it's some type of peace that can be given to them. I hope it's some type of peace that can be given to Tyrus Jones' family. I hope it's some type of peace that can be given to Jovan Fresco's family. I hope it's some type of peace that can be given to Mikey Sago's family and Demetrius Bennett's family. Some type of peace to the families of all of these people. Some type of peace to Jose Gonzalez Jr. family. I hope it is some type of peace that those families can get. But I promise you, Rockford will get no peace this spring and summer. None.